The song that is playing right now is roughly translated to Rocking in the Caravan. It played on the title screen of Monster Hunter 4. Monster Hunter's title screens have followed this aesthetic for 3 generations now, focusing on a percussion and flute, comfortably putting you into this ancient world of Monster Hunter. This video series covers the evolution of the music of Monster Hunter. If you haven't seen the videos for Generation 1 to 3 yet, please go watch those first. I also have to preface this video with the fact that I do not have a means to record footage of Monster Hunter 4. Apologies. I'll mostly use trailer and cinematic footage for this video. The main theme of Monster Hunter 4 is Setting Off Breeze, which is a song that breathes adventure, which is fitting for the game's plotline of traveling the world and solving the mystery that is the article the Caravaneer found, the mystery of the Gore Magala, the flagship monster. These are the composers for this generation. Once more, only one composer returned from the last generation. It's a really weird trend you got there, Capcom. To show how far the music has evolved, take the original Tigrex battle theme. Remember how I mentioned it used a stock sample loop for the beat? Now listen to this revised track made for Generation 4. The sample loop has been replaced with a completely new, entirely original beat. Good job, guys! Monster Hunter's 4th generation consists of Monster Hunter 4, its expansion 4G, Monster Hunter Cross, and its expansion Double Cross. This is the first generation with 4 titles. Get it? Generation 4, 4 titles? And even funnier, they were all on the 3DS. The portable team decided to drop the portable title because they were already on the 3DS, a portable console, and it made no sense to call it Portable 4th. So they called it Cross instead. And I guess Cross is also like a 4? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to focus on Cross a bit before I discuss Monster Hunter 4's soundtrack. While the 3 aforementioned composers did Monster Hunter 4, Ryo is listed as the sole composer for Monster Hunter Cross. While Portable 3rd was definitely a celebration of the series, Cross is almost an explosion of Monster Hunter. Double Cross has nearly all the gameplay content of all the previous games, and strived to be the most fun Monster Hunter in the series, and I think it succeeded. All the old villages from the past 3 portable games return with brand new compositions of their themes. The one I want to note as most improved being the Kokoto village theme, which hasn't been heard since 1st generation. Ryo really improved this song. The old version was honestly a bit off-sounding in my opinion. Like 3rd generation, the songs are bassier and more full-sounding, thanks to what I can assume is an improved budget and sound mixing. Many people like to easily diss the use of simulated instruments and claim that real orchestras are always better. The truth is, simulated instruments have never sounded better, and the ability to use nearly any instrument digitally, instead of, the hassle of paying a real musician who can play a real instrument perfectly, allows for the composers to be much more creative with the sound and experiment with instruments they may have never even worked with before, and on a way cheaper budget. All the cute cat songs, as I called them in the last video, have kind of exploded here, to the point where I feel like it goes too far in some places. While Generation 2 and 3 featured the songstress singing in the Monster Hunter gibberish language, they made the lolly cat girls sing in the Monster Hunter gibberish language. Though I personally have nothing against the characters themselves, this is really silly. This is the complete opposite of what that 1st generation had in terms of moodiness. Is this really Monster Hunter? Speaking of this, back to the monsters. Cross and Double Cross has a total of 5 flagship monsters, I guess 6 if you include Bloodbath Diablos, but yeah. Anyway, with this came 6 new battle themes, 7 because Bloodbath Diablos had 2, whatever. All completely aesthetically different from one another, but also to represent the different generations. Mizutsune's musical theme completely fits Portable 3rd's Japanese influence. And Gamuf's theme focuses on the Generation 2 combination of the more exotic instruments mixed with the classic orchestra. Astalos' theme uses an electric guitar, which doesn't really fit Generation 1's aesthetic, but the actual melody of the song, to me, is reminiscent of the old Forest and Hills theme. Finally, the Glavenus theme, representing 4th generation, focuses on the Well, it would help if I defined Generation 4's aesthetic, so we gotta go back to Monster Hunter 4. The soundtrack of Monster Hunter 4 is objectively, in my opinion, the strongest soundtrack of the series. Monster Hunter 4 is the ultimate evolution of the series, and focuses in on the true aesthetic it has been building. It started as medieval light fantasy, but as the focus on ancient ruins in Monster Hunter 2, and then the focus on nature and the circle of life in Monster Hunter 3 crept up, Monster Hunter 4 combines them all. I have to go on a bit of a tangent here to explain, so please bear with me. My concept on Monster Hunter's core aesthetic was revealed and fulfilled in Generation 4. I firmly believe that Monster Hunter is not about hunting monsters at all, but rather it's a series about learning and teaching. It's about mistakes. Almost all hardcore Monster Hunter fans know the truth behind Monster Hunter, that the fact that it's a post-apocalyptic world and that the people in it are only the survivors of what was called a Great Dragon War, which left all the ruins that persistently crop up everywhere in the games. The past mistakes of the old hunters eons ago should never be repeated. In gameplay, it's about learning the behaviors of the wildlife and attempting to overcome it. Failure is what every player goes through over and over again. Generation 4 sticks you in the most ancient landscapes of the series, worlds once ruled by monsters and humans alike, and to expose you to the ancient tales about the past calamities and the power of the dragons to, again, teach you that if you aren't careful, everything will once again be laid to ruin. I love the arena battle music. Yeah, this is still a video about the music, sorry about that tangent. I best describe the soundtrack of this generation as foregone. Everything is ancient, like extra ancient than ever. The instruments focus heavily on percussion and flute, and the strings and brass have been largely replaced with archaic versions of the usual instruments. I'm not really a musical expert, so I can't tell you in specific which instrument is named what, but anyone listening can hear that there's definitely a focus on early civilization and archaic culture. Every battle music in Generation 4 blows it out of the water for me. Each map focuses on a new feature of vertical combat, jumping into deep caves and climbing over mountains. This plays so well to the game's feeling of adventure, traveling from village to village on a quest to defeat a monster that is causing mayhem. Many people don't like the Everwood battle music. The main instrument is a light flute, so they find it less intense than the other tracks. I find that wasn't really the point of the song at all, and it really makes me rethink the whole point of the battle music in Monster Hunter. Is it about the excitement of battle, or is it about teaching and learning? I love this focus on only archaic instruments and percussion. The Sunken Hollow battle theme is basically entirely percussion. It sounds far more organic and chaotic. It doesn't feel controlled, like the world and the monsters in it. Again, Monster Hunter is about learning and understanding. I believe that Monster Hunter's greatest lesson is that humanity are predators too. They need to hunt as well. Every living creature is required to play their part to preserve the way of life. Only the hunter can slay the Gore Magala, and it is the hunter's job to do it. Well, that finishes my discussion on the music from Generation 1 to 4. Maybe when Generation 5 finishes, I'll make a video on it, but I've implied before that I'm not really a fan of Generation 5. If Monster Hunter 1 wasn't so terrible and unplayable, Monster Hunter World would be my least favorite game in the series. I simply have very little good to say about the soundtrack, and no one really wants me to... no one wants to listen to me complain. I want everyone to enjoy their favorite series as much as possible. Same with me, I want to be able to enjoy the series as much as possible, so there's no point dwelling on the negatives.